Now, can we possibly forget a few years ago? Now, Kamala Harris would love for you to forget that her administration has been the biggest advocate of letting progressives take over the public schools in this country's history. Now, I happen to believe that whether you're going to a private school or a public school, parents ought to be able to raise their kids according to their values and let the parent. Let the parents determine the values. Let parents impart morals onto their children. And why don't the teachers teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, which, by the way, is what most teachers want to do. You know, I'll never forget this. I was talking to this is during my Senate race, and I was talking to somebody in Ohio, but she had actually been a teacher in North Carolina when there was the big debate about whether we were going to let biological males in girls' bathrooms, right? That was a big debate in the state of North Carolina a few years ago. Of course, it's still a live debate all across our country. As crazy as it is to me, we want to protect our young girls, and part of the way you protect them is to ensure that sex predators are not allowed into the restrooms. Very common sense. But she was a voter of mine, and she was much more socially moderate. She actually came up to me and said, look, I actually didn't have a strong view on that particular issue. In fact, I actually, if anything, probably disagreed with your perspective on it. But she was voting for me for a whole host of reasons, but she made an observation that before she had moved, that what that policy had done, when the federal government orders progressive politics into our local public schools, even if she disagreed with the federal government on that issue, she didn't like being deputized by the federal government against the parents in her school district. And I thought that was really interesting, that even if she agreed with them on a particular issue, she didn't want to be made to go to war with the values of the parents in her school district. And I happen to believe, and I think this is a core part of Christian social teaching in our country, is that we want to build strong communities. We want to build strong neighborhoods, and we want to build strong families. But you can't have strong neighborhoods and strong communities if the federal government is ordering teachers to do something against the will of parents. So Donald Trump and I promise a federal government that will be allies of parents in teaching their children their values, and also allies of parents and teachers who just want to teach kids reading, arithmetic, and writing at school. Let the progressive politics stay out of the classroom. Now, not only did Kamala Harris pursue a lot of this ridiculous progressive policy in the classroom, but she decided to weaponize the federal government against any parent who dared to speak up. Now, we remember this was a few years ago, and Kamala Harris would love people to forget about it because it's politically damaging for her, but they were labeling parents who are going to school board meetings to raise their voice domestic terrorists in their own country. Donald Trump and I believe that if you're going to a school board meeting to speak your voice, you are a patriot and not a domestic